Great to have you here. But more importantly, Rick Albin, great to have you, sir. I always say, because Skubik's here, the dean, everybody's here. But, we've been here for weeks and weeks and weeks and no Rick Albin. And I always say, if Rick Albin's not here, that means there's a bigger story somewhere else. It's just none of you know what it is. But Rick does. So this must be the story. So great to have Rick here. Cranes is back. David Eggert, great job you're doing. This is wonderful. But no, and I said, we had Mauger here for 1 week. It was horrible. We're so happy you're back, Beth. Mauger was here. Do you remember this? He's sitting here, and he's like skeptical about what I'm saying about the Secretary of State's website. And he's like, what do you mean? And he must not have been looking at it, because I was right here, and you see Rep. Brian Bagol's here. What a great committee you're running, the Government Operations Committee. They're just slamming out bills left and right.
Thank you, Speaker.
Yeah, you're doing a great job. You'll hear from Brian in a minute. But anyway, Craig Mauger, okay, he's like questioning me about the website. And I was up here and I said, we spent $9 million on this website. For the Secretary of State spent $9 million on this website, and it's less transparent than the one before it. It's harder to use. Some people have to put in their contact information to get access to anything. So she's probably tracking you. So be careful. If it asks for your contact information, don't put your real contact information in there, because Benson will know what you're looking for. She'll know you're looking things up. But even then, the website doesn't work. It was a disaster. Did you guys see the headline in Gongwer? It's like, the website doesn't work as well as the one before it. And I don't think anyone can report. I don't know. Just so you know, I raised more money than anybody. HRCC, the best quarter they've ever had. Matt Hall, every one of our accounts, we raised more money than anybody. And we're standing up to the special interests. So I'm telling the Republicans, you can stand up to the special interests. You can fight for your principles. You can do the things on the Mission for Michigan that we said we were going to do, and you can still raise more money than anybody else. But none of you know that, because Jocelyn Benson's website doesn't work. We're just saying, Jocelyn Benson, stop campaigning for higher office and fix your website. Well, anyway, I saw today, even Craig Mauger now, this website is not working the way it was intended to. I saw a tweet from him, so he woke up. And if this doesn't get fixed immediately, we have a problem. You go on this website, you can't tell what anybody raised. You just see, this is the starting amount and this is the ending amount. You have no idea what they raised. You guys remember before Jocelyn Benson spent $9 million on this website, when you could go to the Secretary of State's website, you didn't have to put in a password, you didn't have to give them your contact information, and you could go on there and you could just see what somebody raised. You could look and see who donated to them. As we're looking ahead at some of these campaign, or this new law, remember this law that says the politicians, they have to disclose their finances and their gifts. Good luck with that website. I mean, you can't go on there and even see what's being reported on there. Like if you wanted to see what is being reported about gifts that politicians receive, there's no way you can tell based on that website. You could on the old website. So anyway, Jocelyn Benson should get off the campaign trail and fix her website. It's a $9 million boondoggle for this website. It doesn't work. And I think the House Oversight Committee should investigate this and find out what the hell happened to that $9 million. I mean, you spend $9 million and it's worse. So it's incredible. And you all know it's true. All of you in the media know it's true, because you're trying to use a website and you can't figure out what the hell's going on. It's less transparent. It doesn't work. And really, more people should be holding the Secretary of State accountable for that. I hope the media will. There's a lot to talk about. I'll just say, isn't it amazing? Talking about Jocelyn Benson, you look at her, what does she say? We have to subpoena her for election manuals. All we want are just the manuals. What information are you giving to local clerks when they administer elections? Because we want to know that she's following the law. Remember, a few years ago, Jocelyn Benson gave them false instructions in violation of the law, saying, we're watering down the signature requirements. And she's saying, a signature is valid unless you can prove it's not. And she got lost in court. She lost in court on that. She broke the law. So we just want to see, are your manuals aligning with the law? And she won't give us the manuals, so we had to subpoena her. And that's transparency. That's not transparency. Okay, now fast forward. We read the Detroit News today. We want to know if the state workers are working at home. Well, we can't tell you that. It's a security matter. This is the same thing that they said about the election manuals. So, Benson, I can't give you the election manuals because of security reasons. Now, Whitmer administration. The state workers, where are they working? We can't give that to you for security reasons. Okay, we're noticing a trend here. We're going to find out. I'm just going to make this clear. We're going to find out where these government workers are. Are they coming into the office or not? We're going to find out, and we are going to bring the government workers back to the office. We're just going to do it. We're going to force them to do it in the state budget, and we're going to get the information even if we have to subpoena them. Now, and it's fine if we do. I mean, if this goes on much longer, I'm just going to tell Jay DeBoyer, just subpoena them. Let's get the information. We're going to find out where the state workers are, and the state workers will be going back to work after this budget's done. Gavin Newsom did this in California, and we're going to do it here in Michigan. And really, I mean, can you believe that they're using security as an excuse for this? I mean, it's incredible. Imagine whatever, everything they do now, Sheriff Begole, Representative Begole, and he knows about security. He was a sheriff. They're going to say, security reasons, we can't give you any information. It's amazing. Why did it take them 6 years to think of this excuse? I don't know. But that's the one they're using now. So, we got a lot of really good things happening. I'll just talk about a couple of them, and then we'll let Rep. Begole speak. But, I think everybody saw yesterday, and we have this very low IQ representative named Mai Zong, probably one of the dumbest ones in the legislature. And I saw this video of her, and she's like, the House Speaker is not here today. We need to have session. We need to work for the people of Michigan, Macomb County. Well, where was I? Well, she's doing nothing for her county and for her district. I was in Macomb County, right near her district, delivering a new mission with President Trump for Selfridge Air Force Base. So I hope she thanks me. That would be nice. Wouldn't it be nice if Mai Zong made a video thanking me? Because she's not doing anything. Anyway, I'll just say we had a great day yesterday, and I'll say, this is something obviously, I think when Governor Whitmer and I come together, we've shown that we can do some things together very effectively. So the way I see it, she's come to President Trump with a list of ideas. I work with him and I work with her and I look at those ideas. And you see the ones that we're in alignment on, those are going really well. And so I was just proud that when Governor Whitmer and I went to the Oval Office together, fighting for Selfridge Air National Guard Base, you heard President Trump tell us, we're gonna make this happen. You're gonna have some good news on this. He had some good conversations with the Defense Secretary. He was working on it. And what a great thing for Michigan yesterday to be at Selfridge Air National Guard Base with Governor Whitmer and President Trump, where he finally announced the new fighter mission for Macomb County. And I will say, I think, Tim, you called it. I remember I watched Tim's show, and Tim said, we're going to see Gretchen Whitmer on the tarmac, and everyone else said, no, you're not, no, you're not. Well, you did. It's pretty interesting. And you got to give the governor credit. I mean, she's praising President Trump. She's helping us implement President Trump's agenda. She's hugging President Trump. She's doing a lot of really great things to help us. So, I see the difference between the first Whitmer term the first Trump term and this Trump term, having Governor Whitmer embracing Trump, helping us implement Trump's agenda, working alongside the Republicans, that is just really helping us to get the job done for Michigan. If this was the first Whitmer term where she was fighting Trump, attacking Trump, negative toward Trump, it would make our job a lot harder. And so what she's doing, and I know a lot of you in the media mocked her about, the blue folder, but, the fact that she was in the room with me really helped us as we were working to get this done. And I think that President Trump looks at this and says, if Matt Hall, who's been with me since 2015, and the House Republicans and Gretchen Whitmer are aligned on something, let's look more into this. And you heard him say, he wasn't that familiar with this when we started. We briefed him on it. There's been a lot of follow-up in between that briefing, and you saw us get the job done yesterday. So that was a really great thing. And I'll say I talked to these leaders at Selfridge, and you could just hear it in the room, those that were there, how proud and grateful all of those Air National Guard members were in the room. I mean, this is going to secure the future of Selfridge Air Force Base for the next 30 to 40 years. I don't know that they've won a new plane in like 80 years. It's been a long time. So, I mean, we've tried under Biden. Biden wouldn't do it. There was a lot going on within the department to work against this. And it took us going to President Trump, explaining it to President Trump, and President Trump and the Defense Secretary, Hegseth, working through that bureaucracy and making this happen. It wouldn't have got done without that. And I'll tell you, you read stories about this, people all over the country are shocked by this. Nobody thought this was going to happen. And I'd say we got it done with the right president, President Trump, and we're so grateful that he was the first president that listened to us and got this done for Macomb County. And I know Ron Robinson, who chairs the Veterans Committee, Veterans and Military Affairs Committee, he came to me and said, this is my #1 priority. Alicia St. Germain has been doing a lot of work on this. You're going to see a resolution from her today. There's going to be some follow-up state budget items that we need to do to make sure the runway is ready for this mission. I believe it's in 2028 when it's coming, so we got to get this runway ready. We got to do a lot of things, and you're going to see Ron Robinson leading on that, making sure we get that done in the Veterans and Military Affairs budget, so the state does everything it needs to do on our end because President Trump has done his job on his end. So I was proud to be a part of that. And I think it really shows what we can do, when we work together and we have the right president. So it was a great outcome. Do you want to talk a little bit? And I know there's a lot of great things going on in the Government Operations Committee. I'll talk a little more about it, but I'll let Brian go. But, sanctuary cities legislation is going to move this week. It's going to be great. We've got a great resolution on the Gulf of America. Something that our state should be recognizing. We have a wonderful resolution today that you've sponsored, Brian, celebrating 100 days of President Trump's administration. With the culmination being that great announcement yesterday by President Trump, bringing Selfridge Air National Guard Base, another fighter mission that'll sustain it for the next 30 to 40 years, making Selfridge Air National Guard Base a winner. I was talking to these local Air National Guard members, and they said, this is the biggest moment of our careers. We've never had a moment this big, the one that President Trump brought us, where Selfridge is winning. And, people all over the country are reaching out to these guys saying, I can't believe this. Great work, everybody. So there's a lot of credit to go around. I know John James did a lot, Lisa McLean, our local reps, President Trump, Governor Whitmer, and I was happy to be a big part of it too. To see that from the Oval Office all the way to the announcement yesterday was incredible. But, you know, that's just one of the things President Trump has done. I'll fill in some details, but I wanted to give Brian Begole some time to talk about the committee work that's going on, and also his excellent resolution today that I bet Democrats will vote for it too. I mean, with President Trump's record, the first 100 days, we're going to have a great resolution today. So why don't you talk about your work, Brian?
Thank you, Speaker Hall, and good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for being here. It's really critical that you're here to get the information out to the public, and I'm seeing larger groups, it seems like, each time, and I think many of you will probably agree because it's very interesting. I think the way Speaker Hall presents these newscasts are excellent, so I'm happy to be here today to tell you about my resolution, and we're going to celebrate President Trump's 100 days in office. There's a reason that the citizens here in Michigan voted for President Trump is because he promised to change the status quo. I mean, that's what we wanted. We were headed in the wrong direction, so many bad things going on, and it's no coincidence that he returns right here to Michigan 100 days into office to tell everybody about all his accomplishments. There's a reason why his last campaign rally was here in Michigan. There's a reason why he invites our noble speaker and our bold speaker to the White House to strategize with him. And the reason why is because our top priorities are our president's top priorities. And there's evidence in that in so many things. You look like he's trying to get Line 5 built for us. He's closing our borders to illegal aliens. He's trying to stop the flow of fentanyl. He's cutting back on wasteful government spending. He's just doing so many things that benefit Michigan. How about the rare earth metals? He has an executive order to mine some of these minerals in Osceola County, things like that. I mean, it's great, and we appreciate it. So we wanted to have the special resolution to let him know how much we as legislators appreciate it, but the citizens of Michigan, probably many of you even today appreciate what the president's doing, whether you'll admit it or not. I'm quite confident there's a lot of people in the room who are just waiting for more good stuff to happen. So we hope that President Trump, we're going to communicate. This resolution is going to be sent directly to his office to let him know. So I'm happy to make this effort. I'm happy that the speaker gave me the opportunity to present this, and I'm hoping that we'll get some help across the aisle and let Mr. Trump know, please, keep focusing on Michigan like he's been doing. It's very much appreciated.
Great. Oh, that's great. That's a great resolution. And I mean, you look at, these border crossings are down like 95%. You see President Trump, cracking down on the MS-13 and these illegal gangs. You mentioned the great work that he's doing up in Osceola County. That was a big deal, that permit that got approved the other day for the potash, Michigan potash. We talked about Line 5, how important that is, and what his administration is doing to expedite the permitting of Line 5. That's so important to our state's energy needs and also to our Great Lakes. We see what he's doing with reopening Palisades, the important work there. We just got some more money from his administration to move forward for that, the first nuclear power plant to reopen probably in the history. His smart tariff strategy is really bringing manufacturing back to Michigan and across the country. And you saw him adjust it a little bit yesterday, to try to, encourage and entice the automotive industries to bring more manufacturing back to Michigan, but only for a limited time. They've got some time. They can bring back all the parts manufacturing. And if they don't, those tariffs are going to go up. And you see all of these countries rushing to negotiate with President Trump. So it's really working. We've seen President Trump bring peace. He's made us strong again. I mean, you look at how embarrassing it was when Biden was there. Do you remember when they withdrew from Afghanistan? That was a very dark day. So there's a lot of things to celebrate on President Trump's first 100 days. We've restored law and order, our borders secure, manufacturing is coming back, we're respected across the world again. So great job on that.
Thank you.
And we have some specific wins for Michigan. I did want to real quick talk a little bit about the sanctuary cities legislation we're doing this week, and you did great work on that in your committee, Brian. You see, the House Republicans, you know, we're working to crack down on these sanctuary counties, sanctuary cities, sanctuary townships they're trying to create now. It's crazy. We're going to pass legislation this week to require that we don't give any more welfare to illegal aliens. You know, and I don't even think they do these checks, honestly. We're going to find out. Jason Wolford has a great oversight committee that's going to be looking into the public welfare programs, and are they doing the checks they need to? And everywhere I go, I ask the question. I was with a group earlier today before I was here. I said, raise your hand. You know, I'm not asking you guys, but raise your hand if you believe that the Whitmer administration is actually doing all of the checks they need to for eligibility for these welfare programs. Everyone knows they're not. So we're going to get to the bottom of that, and we're going to stop these illegal aliens from getting rental subsidies, from getting free legal services so they can defend their deportations like they could under this Democrat budget. We're going to stop them from getting welfare. Citizens should get welfare, not illegal aliens. People that are here legally should get those programs. And also, we're going to hold the revenue sharing from any sanctuary city or jurisdiction that has sanctuary policies, whether it's in their jails or whether it's any policy that impedes the cooperation with federal law enforcement. So you're going to see that pass. It'll be interesting to see if the Democrats vote for it. And you see that on top of that, our work we've done in our House rules to prohibit these pet projects for any sanctuary jurisdiction. So you see we've had illegal alien crime all over Michigan caused by these illegal aliens. We're going to stop it. We're going to crack down on these sanctuary counties and cities. We had very good legislation with Sarah Leitner to raise the minimum sentence for these fentanyl dealers. You know, this fentanyl was pouring across the border under Biden and his open border policies, damaging many lives across our state. We're going to raise the minimum sentence because, as you know, all these liberal judges, they let out these fentanyl dealers on these minimum sentences. So what good does it do if you raise the maximum sentence if they're letting these guys out on the minimum sentence? And then 44 Democrats vote against that. It was unbelievable, you know, but we're going to get that done. We moved that one through the House. And did that come out of your committee too? Or was it? No, that was Judiciary. That was a great one. Now I want to talk a little bit about the Senate. I don't think they're in today, are they? Do we know? Are they here today? The Senate? Does anyone know? They are. Are they voting? What do they vote on the floor? That's good. So they are here. Yeah. Good. Oh, good. Oh. Are they here tomorrow? Nobody knows. Well, they've woken up, so that's good. They watch my press conferences, so I give them a lot of credit for that. In fact, I think Winnie Brinks mentioned one on your show, Rick, so they're watching our press conferences. No, I want to set a few things straight, I guess. Number one, I watched Rick's show. For Winnie Brinks to say that she's trying to have meetings with me, that's just false. They're not making any effort to have meetings with me. They're suing me. They're suing me in the House all over the place, and they're losing in court. But you're watching this. I watched this interview, and it's like, we are desperately trying to meet with the House Republicans. And then, by the way, they say all this stuff, Winnie. But, you know, our appropriations chairs are talking, and there's all these other conversations going on behind the scenes, and they're quadrant meetings, but man, I just wish the House Republican Speaker would meet with us, and I'm doing everything I can. That's just a lie. It's a complete lie. They've never asked for a meeting. They're not trying to meet with us. All they're doing is retreating to their corner, and when they have session, they just complain about me, they sue us. They mostly pass bills no one cares about. So they're not trying anything. But I'll just say, so that was an interesting one. It was almost as bad as the one I saw on the mishmash where she's like, remember that? She's like, everything is going fine. It's going great. It's going to according to plan. You know, it was almost as bad as that one in terms of the the lying, I guess I would say, or the whatever you want to say. And then I watch them, and this is important. This is, I think, is one of the most important things I'm going to talk about, so I want to get your attention on this part. So I watched something yesterday, and they're waking up because they're watching my press conferences, and every week I'm saying, look, either do something, Senate, and you watch Rick Albin's interview, she doesn't say anything about anything they're doing. There's no, like, I go on Rick Albin's show and I say, we just passed a roads plan that's going to fund roads over corporations. She goes on the show and complains about the Republicans, okay? Doesn't say anything. That's why I say the Democrats have a negative governing philosophy, because she goes on Rick's show and just complains about us and talks about how hard she's working for a meeting, but offers no actual things they're doing. So they're watching me, and now they're coming out and they're saying, we're funding education, and it's roads versus education. And a lot of people in the media are falling for that narrative, so I want to talk about that, okay? You guys can go back and watch every press conference. What I say is our budget priorities are roads, education, and public safety, okay? This is not roads versus education, guys, all right? Roads, public safety, education. Those are our budget priorities, okay? Not the big giveaways for the corporations, not SOAR, none of that. Roads, public safety, education. That is what the House Republican priorities are in this budget. And I'll just point out, in the government shutdown prevention plan, no one is reporting this. You won't report this. You should report it. The per pupil number the House Republicans put in there is higher than the Senate Democrats' per pupil number. So they're getting more money per pupil for these local school districts from the House Republicans, even under the government shutdown plan, which isn't our plan. That is just something we put out there because these Senate Democrats might shut down the government. So we're just saying, if the government were to shut down, you know, why don't we now agree to a higher per pupil number right now? And then we'll work in the rest of it as we're going through the subcommittee process. Now remember, Democrats, Senate Democrats, these people, they did not raise the per pupil foundation allowance last year. First time in over 10 years. They gutted school safety, 92%. They lost the House because of it. And now they're coming and saying, it's us, the Democrats, who want to fund schools. They had the opportunity when they had a trifecta, and they didn't do it at all. They didn't even present some of the bills on education, so they're wacky people. But they should be mad at their speaker, Joe Tate, you know? That's what they should be mad at. They should sue him, you know? But anyway, I'll just say, when we're talking about this, what I think the Senate Democrats want to do is they want to protect the money for the big corporations, whether that's the big corporations like GM, which are taking advantage of this state with hundreds of millions of dollars in SOAR and the mega credits, and the other big corporations. You know, when Winnie goes on these shows and says, we don't know where these cuts are going to come from, we very clearly laid it out. The cuts are going to come from the big corporations and the earmarks. We can fund our roads without raising taxes if we take the money away from the big corporate giveaways. We treat everyone the same, Democrats. It could be Medicaid, it could be education. That's just false. It's false. It's absolutely false, and we shouldn't report that because it's lies, just like what you're seeing on your show. So I'll just walk you through this. We have a higher per pupil number, even in the government shutdown prevention plan. But what the Democrats want to do is they want to protect the hundreds of millions of dollars, and someone told me today it's $600 million in the education budget that goes to corporations. These guys, they pick their, I don't know, maybe they like a lobbyist here in town or whatever, and they fund their program in the budget. So what Darren Camilleri and these people are saying is, our preferred lobbyists have clients that are for-profit corporations, and we want to continue to give them money instead of putting it into the per-pupil foundation allowance. That's what he's saying. So, what do you need, 10 million, 20 million over here for this for-profit education corporation? What do you need, 10 million over here, 5 million here? They want to dole out that $600 million. If they don't dole out that $600 million to the for-profit companies that siphon it away from the per-pupil foundation allowance, that get it from that goes to our local schools, that's cutting education. That's what they say. What we're committed to doing is putting more money into the classroom than the Democrats. We're committed to making sure it goes to our local school districts, and we're trying to, reduce these for-profit companies getting these special giveaways in the education budget. Okay, and you look at what we're doing. I mean, we're going to raise the per-pupil foundation allowance. We're going to fund school safety. And we're going to work through all these other things they talk about, like at-risk funding and transportation. That isn't part of a government shutdown prevention plan. That's part of an education budget, which you're seeing who is it? Tim Kelly, sorry. I got all these. I don't have any notes up here. Do you guys know? Like, Jordan, if you come up here, there's nothing here. This is all out of my head. So anyway, by the way, that's how I can do what I did yesterday. I mean, you see, Governor Whitmer goes up. I'm not prepared to speak. And she kind of, well, I didn't know I was going to speak either. And I went up there, and everyone I talked to, they said I did a knockout. It was a great speech. We walk up there. So, I think it's because I do the press conferences. The governor doesn't come up here and do unscripted press conferences like I do. So when you get thrown into those situations, it's pretty natural to me. And you all keep me on my toes, all of you people. So I'll just say, you saw the speech. It was great. I mean, giving President Trump the credit, talking about the 30 to 40 years that's going to keep Selfridge alive. The first day in a long time, Selfridge has won with a new fighter mission. So yeah, we talked about that. People said it was a great speech, but I didn't have time to prepare for this. I just went up and gave the speech. So anyway, Tim Kelly is doing a great job on education, and he's looking at, how do we fund all those things, but that's through the education budget, not through the government shutdown prevention plan. And when the Democrats shut down the government, I hope they use that as a lifeline if it gets there. So I'm happy there's activity going on in the Senate, but I'll point out, I just say, when you hear for example, the PDAB board, I heard that, Democrats, because they're waking up, because I'm calling them out. Say, what are the Republicans going to do about our prescription drug board? Why aren't the Republicans doing it? Well, my response to that, you guys had a Democrat trifecta. Why didn't you guys do it? You know what I mean? You're blaming me. They blame me for everything. They sue me. They blame us. It's like, wait a minute, guys. You had a Democrat trifecta, and you squandered it. If this prescription drug board was so important, why didn't you guys do it? You had everything. If all these things they talk about, education, why didn't you guys do it when you had a trifecta? We're putting real plans on the table. You saw us do it with the Public Safety Trust Fund, which they didn't do. They didn't do it. They could have done it. We did it, and we're going to get them to do it before this term is done. We've passed really serious education reforms that'll modernize the curriculum, focus on real-life skills, and we did it bipartisan. We have a roads plan to fix local roads without raising taxes. And today we're going to repeal their energy siting law. That's a mess. And tomorrow we're going to prohibit sanctuary cities and counties, and we're going to take the money away, the welfare from the illegal aliens and we're going to hold those sanctuary jurisdictions accountable. So we're moving forward, but this is not education versus roads, okay? So I'll just stop there. I know that was a long rant. Any questions? I'll try to keep my answers on the questions shorter because
What has to happen to get you and the Senate Majority Leader to start taking up each other's bills, or maybe having that meeting or having that conversation? Do we have to wait until litigation plays out to the final step? Is that the whole everything?
well, what I would point out, again, you know, I've been appearing with Governor Whitmer over and over and over. And I would just encourage Winnie Brinks to follow Governor Whitmer's lead. I mean, you see the great work that Governor Whitmer is doing, embracing Trump and his agenda, and appearing with Trump. And I mean, we even saw her hug Trump, you know? So I'm just saying, like, if Winnie Brinks could learn from Governor Whitmer's example and say, you know, maybe Governor Whitmer is doing something effective here. She's not suing the Republicans. She's not focusing only on our differences. You know, Governor Whitmer and I sit down and we work through what can we get along and work together on, right? And Selfridge was one of those things. And when she said, will you join me with President Trump? I said, yes, and I supported her on that. Winnie Brinks, now give her credit, right? Maybe we're too hard on her because she has a very radical left caucus. And she did show leadership putting that bill up when we wanted to save earned sick leave, paid sick leave, and we wanted to keep people's jobs. She put that bill up even though most of her caucus opposed it. So she has potential there. But I would say this, either empower Governor Whitmer to negotiate for you and have her back as your leader, because you see she's effective right now, working with us and working with President Trump, or come to the table and actually be willing to compromise. You know, that's what we need. I mean, running to the press and just complaining about, oh, we haven't met, you know, they haven't even tried to meet with me, to be honest, in months. And they're suing me for the first time in the history of the state. So, you know, I think that the best thing they could do is go to Governor Whitmer and let her negotiate for him. And maybe they could come to the table with actually solutions, because we're putting solutions on the table if you see it, and we're getting results. Yeah, Tim?
Mr. Speaker, is the Democratic K-12 budget DOA?
Well, I don't know everything that's in their budget, so I'm not going to go that far. I don't know. What I'm saying is the concept that it's roads versus education is a false narrative that the Democrats are creating because they don't have a plan to fund the roads. We have a plan to fund education. What we're not going to do is continue to protect $600 million a year of giveaways to corporations in the education budget. So I'd say that part of it is DOA, but the rest of it, you know, I mean, we agree with a higher per pupil foundation allowance, but our number is higher than the Democrats. So the Democrats are going to have to go higher on the amount each district gets per student. And we'll look through the rest of the details with Tim Kelly. All I know is they didn't increase the per pupil foundation allowance when the Democrats had a trifecta. And then when they put this number on the table and they tried to create this narrative with you guys, their number was lower than ours. I mean, and then you ran with it as a press, and I was surprised by that. So hopefully we'll report it accurately. Even the government shutdown prevention plan, which was in our budget, had a higher per pupil foundation allowance. And if they have all these great ideas, why didn't they do it when they had a trifecta? What did they do? They held school per pupil foundation where it was, didn't increase it for the first time in 10 years, and gutted the hell out of school safety. And then they lose the election because of it, and now they're for those things. It's very interesting, Tim. Yeah, Beth.
Going back to your earlier comments on the campaign finance list,
Yeah, it's a mess.
are you saying you're encouraging households to look into it, or households that basically?
Yeah, I'm encouraging them to look into it. You know, I think they should pull in Jocelyn Benson and try to figure out what the hell happened to the $9 million we give them, you know, well, the Democrats gave them $9 million to create a website, and the website is less transparent, is not user-friendly, and in some cases, they may even be able to track what you're looking at. So it's a mess, that website. And so we need to figure out, why did they spend $9 million and what the hell did they spend it on? Because they got a worse website, a less transparent website. And how much attention is Jocelyn Benson paying to this? I mean, I see her campaigning, but is she running her office? We'll see. Yeah, Jordan.
Also going back to something you mentioned earlier regarding solar siting and obviously the sanctuary cities legislation.
You might want to jump in here.
Both of these are quite unpopular with Democrats. They still have control of the Senate. I guess why advance legislation that is so partisan and does not seem to be taken up?
You're talking about the sanctuary cities.
And the solar siting.
The solar siting, yeah. So, do you want to say anything about that? I'll answer, but you go ahead, Brian. I mean, how hard would it be to stand up here for an hour like this while I'm talking? So why don't you go ahead?
Sure. So both of those bills came through government operations, and we're proud of the fact that Speaker Hall is driving the Republican agenda as he is. And I'll just say that the Republicans are working for the people, okay? You don't take away local control in solar and wind siting when 85% of the people say they're for local control. So that shows you how out of touch Democrats are with their own constituents. The other thing on these sanctuary cities, I heard the arguments as committee chair, and quite frankly, there is no argument. You can't put an illegal alien, and oftentimes a criminal illegal alien, before an American veteran who's sleeping in his car and doesn't have a home, or a mother who's got a family and they're struggling to feed them, and give this money away to illegal immigrants to stay in the top hotels and things like that. I mean, it makes absolutely no sense. I can't for the life of me figure out why anybody would want to do that. So we're going to continue down this path, and we're going to keep the Michiganders first and do what we have to do. And I think in 2 years, people have had enough, and I think it's going to show in the election in 2 years as well.
Great. Yeah, and I would just say this. I mean, I've said this before, and Beth did a great job covering this. And, she had the very controversial story that she did. And I know a lot of you had questions about it. But overall, it was pretty fair. It was tough, but it was fair. You got to give Beth credit for that. It was hard to read some of that stuff, but it was tough, but you did a fair job. That's all we can ask, If I liked it too much, it wouldn't be good. So, but just to answer your question, Jordan, I'll just say, I think we're doing a couple things here, right? We're throwing out a lot of things like they won't do local roads. It's as simple as, let's prioritize roads over the corporations. And I read a story in Bridge. Did you write that? Paula Gardner wrote it. And this isn't me. This is Paula Gardner. She's saying that these economic development incentives from the Whitmer administration are creating no jobs. I think it was like 0 jobs SOAR has created, and they've given out billions. So we're just saying we're not going to do that anymore. Let's focus on that instead of the corporations. Let's focus on roads instead. That is a realistic plan, right? You see things moving through the House with Democrat votes. They're all realistic. They're things the Senate should act on. The other thing that we're doing, I think, is we're showing the state of Michigan what Republican governance of this state is going to look like. And when you see the repeal of the solar siting law, that's what Republican governance of this state is going to bring. So, some of this is we're working through the policy. We're going to vet the policy. We're going to have the stakeholders weigh in, the media scrutinize it on a lot of these issues. Some of them will get done. Some of them we won't get done. But we'll be ready to hit the ground running with a new governor and a new Senate. And I said this in Beth's interview. I said, look, we're going to work with these Democrat leaders on everything we can. But at the end of the day, I have 6 more years. They don't. They're done after this. And we'll get a new governor and a new Senate. And the stuff that they're not going to do, we'll get another chance, right? And I was with a group of people today, and I said, how many of you think, no matter who it is, they'd be more reasonable than Brinks? And everyone raised their hand. They said, how could you be less reasonable than Brinks? So we got a pretty good chance of getting a better group in 2 years. So we're going to do everything we can. We're going to work as hard as we can, but we're also going to be ready to hit the ground running next year. I think a lot about when, You know, when Paul Ryan was Speaker of the House and President Trump won his first term, and they didn't have a plan. And you guys all criticized them. It's like one of you said this on Skubik's show. You know, when the Republicans won the Congress and they said they were going to repeal Obamacare and they didn't have a plan. Well, now the Democrats, they control everything last term. They had no plan on roads. We passed a plan on roads, and they had no plan, and we exposed it, and you people in the media had to even acknowledge there's no plan in sight from the Democrats in the Senate on roads. So they try to change the subject, and they try to change the narrative and all that. But we have a plan on roads, and we have a plan on education. They have no plan on roads. But the point of this is, we're not going to be in that position next year, in 2 years. We're going to have an agenda. What we don't get done now, we'll be ready to go with a new governor and a new Senate, and that's why we're doing it. Because this stuff changes a lot when you vet it and go through the process. And you look at that. You look at our sanctuary city bills last year, the ones I was sponsoring with Cam Cavett versus this year, and you see how much they've changed. That's because you go through a committee process. That's the difference between doing these PR bills, like what the Senate Democrats are doing, and actually doing the deep dive of legislation, which you're seeing in these bills today and tomorrow. Yeah.
Speaker Hall, would you be open to considering a recommendation from the State Officers Compensation Commission that would give state elected officials a pay raise?
No. So, real quick, Jordan, I just want to say, the other thing that I tell our people, and this is the difference between me and Winnie Brinks, okay, and us, our caucus, the House Republicans, which won a majority, and the Senate Democrats, which are an accidental majority, hand-delivered by Governor Whitmer. We're not just complaining about the other side. So we're going to vote tomorrow or today. We're going to vote today to repeal the energy siting law, okay? But what I've told our chair, we're not just going to be negative and repeal what the Democrats did. We're going to have a positive plan on energy. And I think you saw the beginning of that with what Pauline Wenzel has done on nuclear. And you're going to see more of that. And when we get to the end of this 2 years, you're going to see not just we're negative on the other side, but what does a vetted energy policy look like, a modern energy policy for the future? That's what you're going to see. And that's the difference between us and the Senate Democrats. So it's not just repeal. Because remember, when they had their trifecta, all they did was repeal. And then when it was, okay, what are you guys going to do other than just repeal Snyder's policies? They fell apart. That's not happening with us. And what these people want to do is they want to negotiate everything in private. So what Winnie Brinks is really complaining about on Rick's show is that we're not doing it in private. We're doing it in public. I'm saying, here's our plan, where's your plan, and then we'll negotiate. So I'd answer you, Rick, they should put a plan on the table and pass it through the Senate rather than trying to have these backdoor conversations that you guys can't analyze. But no, we're not gonna raise our pay. We're not gonna entertain that at all. Yeah, Eggert. And then I think we gotta stop, but go ahead, Eggert. I was on a roll, Jordan. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, I think you look at, I mean, what we're doing is working. I mean, look at what Governor Whitmer and I are doing. So I would just say, look, I mean, these people are suing me. These people are, they tried to do it in front of the cameras for political reasons. They're inciting very radical left-wing people. And do you notice everything they do, they mention me? Everything they do. It's Matt Hall, Matt Hall, Matt Hall. They had, what, 50, 60 people outside my office yesterday? These people are trying to make this very personal with me. These Democrat leaders are making it personal with me, and their radical left-wing base is targeting me. So, you know, I don't come up here and complain about that. I mean, this is politics, guys. It's not fair, okay? What matters is, are we working for the people of Michigan? And what I heard Winnie Brinks say on Rick Albin's show, and what I hear to say all of you, is excuses. The people of Michigan don't care if Winnie Brinks and I like each other. If she has solutions on roads, put them up for a vote, and then we'll negotiate. Simple as that. Governor Whitmer is trying to do that, and if she can't do it, then at least empower Governor Whitmer, because what Governor Whitmer is doing is much more effective than what Winnie Brinks is doing.
You'll have to pass the budget. What do you think needs to be done to improve relationships
Well, I think that what Winnie Brink should do is she should ask Governor Whitmer for some advice.
Is there anything that you could do to maybe facilitate that relationship with the Senate?
Well, I think we're doing everything we can do. I mean, you watch. I mean, we're out here every week. We're talking about things. We're sending them legislation. You know, we're offering to negotiate deals, and all they want to do is complain and sue and pass things that are, you know, dumb, and then blame us for why they didn't get stuff done during their trifecta. I think really what they should do is they should all get in a room together and just cry this out and get over it. They lost their House majority. They lost their trifecta. Like, grieve, get done with it, and then let's get to work and let's pass a plan to fix our local roads. Let's do the Public Safety Trust Fund. I've got all these local governments across Southeast Michigan, an area that basically I have to represent now because no one else is doing it. And they're telling us, they're saying, right now, we'll put more police on the streets, we'll put the patrol cars out, we'll get them the equipment. You saw me standing with Mayor Duggan, right? Who do you see Winnie Brink standing with? Nobody. I'm standing with Gretchen Whitmer, I'm standing with Mike Duggan, I'm standing with Farhat, all these Democrats, Warren Evans, Mark Hackel, all the Democrats, these police chiefs are all Democrats, and they're all working with me, and they're all supporting our plans, and Democrat House members are supporting our plans, and then you guys are coming to me telling me the House Republicans are the problem. Why doesn't Winnie Brinks find some Republicans to work with? That would probably help. We're the only ones with a bipartisan roads plan because everyone else is partisan. It's incredible. So thanks, guys. We got to go. Appreciate it. Great job. Man, they love the work your committee's doing. They love it.